Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarapal, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your underdog, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Hello, everybody. We're back with the No Name Brand Podcast, and I'm your host, Sashka Hanarapal, who will be taking you through the next 30 minutes or so. So get yourself comfortable, because today is going to be rather exciting because, and I'm going to start off with this, someone that's in the arena the same as myself. And I speak about the arena. I first heard Brene Brown talk about her pivotal moment after her TEDx talk and finding that legendary speech from Theodore Roosevelt. I'm sure you've heard of it. And if you haven't, well then, where the hell have you been? It's called The Man in the Arena, and how it turned her focus off her being a failure to seeing that she was the one who was in the right, in inverted commas, that she was the one being criticized for being in the arena by many who'd never even taken that journey. And they're kind of like, oh, I like that. And it's also something I treasure that she shared, because for a very long time, I was under this, in inverted commas, underdog spell that I was and would be done wrong always because I was in the minority and an underdog. Until I realized myself that those criticizing, although they may be successful, rich, financially educated, who knows what, had never been in my shoes and in my arena, and in reality had no place criticizing me. What off a dog's back? Maybe. Now, this took a lot of courage from my side to acknowledge, accept, move on, have the upper hand as the other underdog, which is probably why I'm a little bit excited. Okay, a lot excited to have our next guest on the show today. I wouldn't say that she's an underdog, but she's definitely in the arena. She walks her talk and is a woman of substance. Although having been in business for 26 years, her pivotal journey began after losing her businesses due to divorce, and she had to create something new from the ground up. That's not easy, folks. When you've had the success and doing it all over again, it's like, oh man, really? Living life on her own terms and contributing on a global scale. Our next guest is on fire. She's a bombshell. She's on fire. One of her favorite quotes could pretty much sum up the way our next guest works. If you can climb a mountain on your own, it's not a very big mountain. I love her already. Because you'll hear me on the soapbox always saying you cannot rise alone. You see, our next guest and myself both build businesses and work with thought leaders and purpose. Does that mean we're doing the same saying? No way, Jose. This is one hell of a big world, folks, and we all have a huge vision to fulfill and purpose to fulfill. And we cannot rise alone and do it all on our own. We are here to work together. We have a few things in common, my next guest and myself, which is really cool. We're both mamas to 3 kids, excited by fast cars, and we cannot hear music without dancing. Bring it on, Footloose. She's also a huge Disney Pixar fan and loathes living inside a box. Her dream is to help others find and love their dream. Her purpose is to help others find their purpose, and her legacy is to help others create their legacy. This is going to be fun, folks. We're both very excited, energy bunnies. So, all my creative visionaries who are deep-rooted in their vision to impact the world but are stuck on thought leadership and positioning, this interview is for you today. So let's dive in and welcome our next guest with a super warm welcome. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Samantha Riley. Hello, Samantha.
It's Sashka. I just wanted you to keep going. I'm like, this is the most awesome intro I have ever had in my whole life.
I shall take that as a compliment. Thank you, Samantha.
Absolutely. I'm just watching you going, wow, this chick is on fire.
Takes one to know one. Tell us about your podcast.
My podcast is called Thought Leaders Business Lab. And the idea of it is to invite inspiring entrepreneurs into the business lab to explore business. Because as you would know, there's never a right answer. There's lots of grey areas. There's lots of experimenting. There's lots of trial and error. And I think that when we think about our business as an experiment, it just takes the stress off. And sure, it is stressful, but let's make it as fun as possible, right?
Exactly. So we're going to start with the first fun part. Where are you in the world today? I don't think I can recognize that by your accent.
Really? I'm in Sydney in Australia. So completely the opposite end of the day. I think it's very early for you. And this is definitely my last interview of the night.
Yes, I've had enough. I want to go to bed. But I'll do this one more thing because it's fun. So how do you bring fun into thought leadership?
Look, I think that we have to have fun every single day. Fun for me is one of my core values. So the way that I bring it in is just having fun with my team, having fun with my work, having fun with my clients. Also making sure that my business is only part of my life. It's not my whole life. So if fun and adventure is how I want to live my whole life, how do I actually put that together with business? So fun is something that I constantly live. One of the things that I really am very passionate about is making sure that I can run my business from wherever in the world I want to be running it. So sure, I'm home today, but there's plenty of times where, you know, I could be the other side of the world. And that for me is the most fun part about business.
I love that. So business is a huge minefield. Like there's a lot of bombs that can go off, people. A lot of bombs that can go off. Why did you particularly want to focus on purpose, thought leadership, and positioning?
I don't know that I specifically went out and went, okay, let's write a list of all the different businesses that we can do, and I'll circle the ones in red that I don't want, and I'll circle the ones in green that I don't. That's not how it happened. For me, business is in my blood. I don't know where it came from. I just knew that I wanted to be in business right from when I was in school. And my very first job, I used to sit on the desk of my boss and actually ask him about business, like when I was 15 years old. And he took me under his wing because he must have thought, what's going on here? This 15-year-old kid's really interested in business. And he used to show me and teach me all this stuff. And so I've always had this love for it. And I think that once I did lose my businesses back in 2010 and I had to go through this whole process of what is it that I'm going to do, I think I just sort of fell into it. I was working in health and wellness. I was helping people to create lives that were on purpose for them, just because that was something that felt good to me. And my clients actually came to me telling me, this is what we want. Sam, we're not happy at work. We want to learn more about business. Can you help us? And the more and more I did that, the more I realized that my unique zone of genius is to help people really dive deep into why they want to be in business. What do they want their lives to look like? And it organically evolved. And I think that's something that we need to always be open to. What are our clients coming to asking us for? Because they're the ones that are our mirrors, right? And they're the ones that are telling us what they want. They see our genius in us more than we can see in ourselves so many times.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, thought leadership and positioning and purpose are all intertwined with one another. How did you find those three things in your personal life, which obviously reflects in your business life? Because positioning yourself within your family is, just because you're a mom on paper doesn't mean that you're a mom or a father, the same thing. You have to earn the respect and earn the rites of passage to be a mom. How did you position yourself within your family, before, after the divorce? And how did you gain your thought leadership, which was then reflected into your business?
Oh, wow. That's such a huge question. Wow. I love you. I love people that think like this. So going back, how did I position myself and my family going through that divorce? For me, I guess I was a little bit lucky in that my children were older. So I did have a 10-year-old son, but my other two children were 18 and 19. So whilst I was looking after my 10-year-old, he also had his brother and his sister to fall back on as that big support. And I'm so lucky my children are so close. So they really took him under their wing as well, and they kind of banded together. So I guess I always looked after them, but it wasn't like I had 2 and 3-year-old kids and had to hold it together in a different way. I actually think that I really came out of that much easier than a lot of other parents do, just with the timing wise and the age that they were. But in regards to my business and how I brought thought leadership into my business, this is actually really interesting. Again, someone else said to me, Sam, you're such a thought leader, or you're helping people uncover their thought leadership. And I was like, no, I'm not good enough for that.
Me?
No.
I'm divorced with 3 kids. How could I be a thought leader?
Exactly. And I really didn't sort of own that for at least 12 months.
Wow.
Because I was like, no, I'm not a thought leader. And I think that thought leadership's a funny thing. It's not a title that we can give ourselves. Other people give it to us. However, at the same time, I'm also a big believer that unless we think of ourselves and own our thought leadership, we can't be it. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? And I actually don't think that I've got an answer there, because other people do need to say that. But until I really embraced being a thought leader and saying, you know what, maybe I am a thought leader, all of a sudden my work changed, because I would do something, create a training or a visual model, and I'd look at it and I'd say, is that how a thought leader would finish that? No, it's not. Let's add another layer to that. And what I noticed was the more I embraced other people's titles that they had bestowed on me, the more I stepped up and was that even more.
Wow.
So I think that's a really great lesson, I guess, for everyone, that just embrace being a thought leader so that you can then go on to extract your own thought leadership.
Yeah. I always say to my clients, you have the potential of thought leadership. You just need to know what you're leading and what thoughts you're bringing forward. Pretty simple, really, thought leadership. Anyway, how do you position that? Or how do you work with positioning? Like, do you have a methodology? Do you take your clients, like anyone, your kids, whatever? How do you want to position yourself in the school or in a social system? Or how does it work with you? How does your mind work, Sam?
Oh, God, you don't want to be in my head. That's the first thing I can say.
All right, now I really want to be in the head.
Because it's crazy in there. But yeah, I do. I don't talk with people about positioning themselves out of their business. I specifically work with them within their business. And the way that I do that is a model that I've devised called the Thought Leaders Positioning Model. And that's working through positioning, profile, and leverage, which are the 3 main parts of where we go through. And then I've got a success path, which goes through the 9 areas of positioning, profile, and leverage. How we start that process, like the very, very first stage, is there's 4 areas. And the first one is working out what your experience is within your work or your university degree, your training, whatever it is. That's the logical piece where most people start and finish their research when they're starting a business. But it's just the first little tiny bit, as you know. Then we go into what's your unique zone of genius. And that's even personality types. What is it that you do that other people say, wow, how do you do that? And you're like, how do you not do that? It's usually that thing that's so easy that you think that everyone else can do it. It's really diving into that. Then the third piece is your life experiences. Are you a mum? Have you been divorced? Have you been through a terminal illness? Have you lost a partner? All of these things change the way that we see the work that we do, because it brings a whole nother layer of empathy and respect and values and all these different pieces in that helps us relate to our clients better. And then the fourth piece is passions, because you can't make money on your passion alone, but you can't run a business without passion, because it'll absolutely decimate you. So what are those passions? Not only do you bring them in to help you come up with your why or a business that you love, but it's also great from the branding perspective. So for example, I love fine wine. Most people know that I do. It's got nothing to do with my business at all, except if I'm running a retreat, someone will say, what's the wine? What are we having? Because they'll know that I always bring the wine. But it's more just that piece that social media. Someone will tag me in a post. It's that top of mind thing. It's the fun thing that you mentioned earlier. So when you're bringing these 4 areas in, that's kind of where you start, and that's how you start positioning yourself and building your profile.
I love that. What is your thought leadership? What are you leading on thoughts? Where are you taking everyone? Where's Sam going, gathering her creativity and inspiration from? And where are you taking it?
So my thought leadership, I believe, is about branding and helping people understand that branding isn't a logo. It's not a few words. I believe that branding is the essence of who you are, and really drawing that out and using that to create a life that you love. That this is the piece that I bring in that a lot of people are quite surprised in. I believe that, like I said earlier, that your business is part of your life, but when you can bring these together and create a business that allows you to either work school hours so you can be with your children, or to travel the world, or to bring in the money so that you can build a mansion on a hill. Like, I don't care what it is that you want to do, but I'm going to help you build a business so that you can do that, to create that business model. So my thought leadership is around really helping people to understand what their unique perspective is, building that business, but also building that brand piece in, because 2019, we're heading into 2020, our personal brand is our insurance policy. This is what we've got. This is everything that we've got moving forward. And the world is changing at such a fast pace. We don't know where it's going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. This world's not going to look like it does now. So we need to have this brand to take with us, because we don't know what the future holds.
That's so true.
Yeah. So it's around really 2 pieces: creating a life that you love and the future of business, and bringing these together and helping people to live their life every day on purpose. You know, like you said, my purpose is helping other people find their purpose, and not just finding their legacy that they want to leave, but leaving a legacy and living it every single day. Why do we want to leave a legacy the day we die? Why can't we start leaving our legacy now?
I love that. What is something that you've been challenged on recently with your thought leadership?
You know, it's often social media. You know, it's those little keyboard warriors that came out.
Keyboard warriors.
Just the other day, I posted around some statistics around the future of business and around freelancing and around personal branding and where the world's going. And of course, someone that was in human resources was the first one to say, whoa, who do you think you are to be throwing these stats around? Because of course, she's trying to protect her ego that she's going to be in this job for the rest of her life. So I get really challenged by that, because I want to be, my ego goes, but I know I'm right. And I'll be sitting there researching. She's probably forgotten and gone away. And, 12 hours later, I'm still pulling out the stats. And yeah, that's my personality. I hate to be wrong, or I hate to post something and then be found out that I'm wrong. Like that's, oh my God, I have human moments.
Oh my God. No. Is that actually possible?
Yeah. I say, oh no, I'm having a human moment. Oh no.
Oh man. So I don't know if it was one of your childhood dreams, or your childhood dream was to become a ballerina. Why wasn't this pursued? What stood in the dream? What happened to the dream?
What happened to the dream was that I was too short.
The perception.
No. I went and auditioned for ballet companies, and I was just too short. So I'm not even 5 foot. So people that are under 5 foot can get into musical theatre. My singing's not so great. So there ended that career. However, I did have a successful dance studio for 18 years. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I owned a multi-award winning dance studio. And so whilst it got in the way of my dreams, it didn't stop me. It just rerouted me.
I love that.
That's what life's like, right? Things happen and they're out of your control. And are you going to live in this resentment and blame, or are you going to go, okay, cool, well, that's what life's dealt me. What can I do? What's the next thing? And I think that's the way I've always lived. Okay, what's the next thing?
I love that. Well, that next thing is a race of lack of something that you're pursuing. Well, I don't know. That's the way I see it. When you're always chasing the next best thing, it's like, what's not fulfilling you? And a lot of people are trying to find that purpose, which you help them find, and the legacy and meaning to life. And ultimately, I don't want to say the last goal, kind of like the end station, is I want freedom. I want freedom to say whatever the freaking hell I want to and do whatever I want. And most people are looking for financial freedom. Why do you, in your opinion, is this an elusive pursuit, financial freedom?
I don't think it is elusive.
Cool.
It's there, but I think people think that it's elusive. And it's that thought that holds them back. And I just want to touch on one other little thing, because you said something else and I've written it down. You said it's a race. It's a race to the next thing. And it's a race to make sure that we've got our purpose and our freedom. But here's the thing, it's not a race at all.
Yeah, exactly.
That it all unfolds exactly how it is meant to unfold. And just because we think we know what it is today, or know what we know it is today, doesn't mean that it's going to be the same thing next week. And that being okay with that and understanding that that's just the flow of life is fine. Sorry, no, I went off track a little bit, but I think that that's really an important point. That so many people race to get there and they beat themselves up because they can't find their purpose. We haven't even spoken about this, and I 100% know that you have clients that say that to you.
Yeah.
Because I hear it all the time. And it's like, it's okay. You don't lose life because you don't know your purpose today. And you're not going to win life if you figure it out today. It's just as it is. And I think that that's the same with this financial freedom. It's not a race. And we don't have to know how we're going to get there. I think that's the next piece. We don't have to know how we're going to get there. However, what we do need to know is what we want.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know what we want, we can't just figure out, well, what's the next step? And it's the next step that's important. But you have to believe it. You have to know within every cell of your body that it's available and that you are worthy to receive it, and that there is so much money in the world that if you're thinking, oh, but the economy's tight or that money's not too hard to come by, then that's what you're creating in your life. If that was really the case, why is there multi-billionaires in the world? They've figured out how to get the money. So you have to know it. And this is where the woo-woo side of me comes in. We have to believe it. I'm very big into manifestation. I did actually get married again last year.
Oh, and congratulations.
Thank you. Then fiance proposed to me in Hawaii, and that was all really beautiful. And we had always said that we were going to get married in Hawaii. And then I was like, oh, babe, we can't get married in Hawaii, because that's where you propose. We have to take it to the next level, right? Because that's how Sam plays. It's what's the next level. So I was sitting on my laptop one Sunday morning in bed, and I went, fancy getting married on a glacier? Oh. And he looked at me, he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, well, if you're okay, I'll just go ahead and organize it. And he's like, okay. So we actually, we went on a cruise ship, cruised up to Alaska, got off the cruise ship, got taken by helicopter up to Mendenhall Glacier and got married on top of a glacier. It was the most incredible experience ever. Exactly a month before that happened, our travel agent took off with all our funds. We had no tickets. We had the insurance doesn't cover anything that fast. We got it all back once we come back. But I was like, oh my God. And I remember my husband saying, oh babe, I don't know if we can pull this off, because this is a big trip from Australia and we were going there for a few weeks and we had the kids going with us and it was a huge expense. And I went, no, it's okay, because I can see it. The helicopter's going to be yellow. I can see it so clearly. It's okay. I don't know how this is going to happen, but let's just trust. Anyway, we did go. It all was sorted out within 3 days and we got there and it was a yellow helicopter, because I knew it was going to be a yellow helicopter. So you have to know, you have to see it, you have to believe it, you have to hear it, you have to smell it, you have to know it without a doubt that it's going to happen and that you can accept it. I think that's a big part of it as well. A lot of people are energetically pushing things away.
True.
Without even realizing it. Let me just add that piece. They don't know they're doing it.
That is so true. What is the most proud moment of your life that you're really, really proud of what you've achieved?
I feel so blessed that there's lots of them. But often when people ask me this and I shut my eyes and just trust, there was a moment, I don't know why this stands out, but there was a moment where I was standing side stage at dance. It wasn't a competition. It was a fundraiser for a friend of mine whose husband had died from cancer. And her husband was diagnosed about 2 hours before his son's christening. So he was really sick. His wife went, for goodness sakes, you drive me insane with your man flu. Can you just go to the doctor and get some medication? And found out he had a brain tumour and died only a few weeks later. So the kids were dancing for a fundraiser for the Cancer Foundation. And normally with dance competitions, and I know that you've got this kind of background too, you know, children are in their own age groups. Well, because this was such a big thing, we'd brought 100 kids together and we'd had so much fun getting ready for it. And there was this moment where the kids went on stage and you've got, like, I'm standing in the wings in black and I've just watched my 100 kids go on stage, and the energy from them was just so palpable. And the music was really loud. It was a really jazzy piece. And they were all, because it wasn't a competition, they were all getting into it too. And there was just this moment where I stood there and just like the tears came to my eyes, where I went, far out, I've just changed so many, or helped to change so many people's lives for different reasons. And I don't know that it was anything like major. Like, I've had multi-million-dollar businesses and that's great, but it's just that one time that stands out that was just such a special moment. Yeah, I'll never forget it. It was fantastic.
Energy is amazing. Because everything just became, time just disappears because time's elusive. Yeah. So you just, everyone just became that matrix. So it was all just the moment, the experience.
Yeah. It was just incredible. Yeah.
Goosebumps from head to toe, people. Moment. All right. So I have to watch the clock here. I have one more question before I ask the last two questions that I ask all my guests. What is the first step that you feel your audience should, I don't say that word so lightly either, but should be taking as the first step into their business and thought leadership? What is there something that they have that it's like, this is the step I need to take to move forward, to get to the next level?
Totally. They need to understand what it is that they stand for. So this doesn't have anything to do with even like the actual business. It's, what am I putting the flag in the sand and saying, I absolutely stand for this. Whatever that is, go out and shout it from the rooftops, because you need to attract your tribe. So there's two things. One, the people that totally are on that mission with you will join you. But the second thing is that the more you talk about it, the more clarity you'll get, because it's amazing how every time we think we have clarity, something else drops in. I've got a joke with one of my friends that we get on the phone every week and I'll say, I've got it, I've cracked it, I've absolutely nailed it this time, you know, and we'll jump on the phone the next week and it'll be like, oh no, not like last week, nailed it this week. Because the more you work through it, the more clarity you get. So it's, what is that thing that I am super passionate about? And start a movement. Start a movement, because people are there waiting for you.
Speaking about movement, how do you want to change or challenge the world doing what you do?
Oh, that's a big question. I think more than anything, I want to challenge the world that you really can live the life that you want. Whatever it is that you want to do, you actually can do it. You may not know how to do it. You may need to find other people to help extract that, what that is, or to help you with a knowledge gap that you have. You don't know how to do it, sure, but whatever it is, go do that. There is no rules. And I think that challenges especially the education system and the corporate world. And I think that there are two institutions that are crumbling.
That's so true. Yeah. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just like, it's a whole different conversation, people. Whole different conversation. I have 3 of my 5 values that I would like your spin on. Creativity for you is?
Doing whatever it is that I want to do.
Oh, cool. I love it. Yes.
Wow. It is. It's just, my creativity is whatever it is that I want to do, because that's what our creativity is.
I love that. Wisdom for you is?
Always being open to learning. Always being open to listening to other people's points of view, being able to see them through their eyes, and really understanding the world through other people's eyes, and then coming up with your own take on it.
Love that. Passion for you is?
Passion is the thing that gets everyone out of bed and has them living life, not doing life, but living it.
I love that. Man, I got some cool guests. I tell you what, it's like inspiring. It's inspiring. Thank you, Samantha, for being here with us today and for honoring your purpose, your legacy, your thought leadership, your positioning, and all that you've gone through and are sharing with other people, your audience, as in other people, in being a magnet of that energy and pushing it out into everyone else so that they can be a magnet, a beacon of magnet as well for their people, and that ripple effect. That's a big task. It's not available to everyone to take on that, I don't want to say load, but take on that mission. Mission impossible. Call in James Bond. No, call in Samantha Riley. You can find out more about Samantha, samanthariley.global, more about her. And you'll also find in the show notes information about her favorite book, her favorite quote, everywhere where she's on social media. She has a free little goodie for you that you can download and get to know her more as well. And of course, you can listen to her on her podcast as well as mine. Don't forget about mine. Mine's also here. Right. Thank you so much, Samantha, for being here. And now you can go have that wonderful glass of red wine, or maybe the bottle. We'll see how that goes. Or you head off into the evening.
Oh, thank you so much, Sashka. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you.
Thank you so much. And to all the listeners, the creative visionaries, remember, go forth fast and furious, and remember to be the change and feel the change that you want to be in the world. We'll see each other again next week, same time. Love you lots. Bye-bye. Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.